Well, thank you all very much. I appreciate you all coming. I appreciate the kind words from Lawrence and Teresa. It means a lot to me, and I thank you for that. Thank you to my friends and my family for being here today, especially my mom, who has always been my biggest champion, confidant, and friend. I appreciate you more than words can convey. And most of all, thank you to my incredible wife, Doina, for her encouragement and support, and most of all, her love. 5 years ago today, she said yes, and I am forever grateful to walk this journey by your side. Much to the excitement of those in this room, and maybe to the worry of some that are not, I'm proud to announce my candidacy for the New York State Assembly. And more importantly, I'm grateful for the positive response and strong support that I've received over the past 10 days since declaring my intention to run. And really, I'm overwhelmed with gratitude by all of you coming out today to support me. So thank you very much. However, I must say, just a few short weeks ago, I really had no intention of pursuing public office at this time. I was very content with the work that I was doing, mainly helping elect some great people to office, such as our newly elected Orangetown Supervisor, Teresa Kenny, and lobbying our state legislators on important transportation and energy infrastructure projects. But after many conversations, thoughtful consideration, and yes, prayer, here I am today, a candidate for public office. And the reason is very simple. I've lived in Rockland County my entire life. My family lives here, my friends live here, and like all of you, I love our community. But sadly, too many of our friends and neighbors are starting to bail on New York. And I simply can't accept that. I refuse to sit on the sidelines anymore and watch our state decline without putting up a fight. I'm a proud New Yorker, and like another proud New Yorker once said, it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Well, like Teddy Roosevelt, it's time to enter the arena, myself, and fight for New York, and fight for us here in Rockland County. Now, running for the state assembly in this heightened partisan environment won't be easy. I know that. And I'm sure there will be some folks on the other side lining up to throw a punch or two. I probably deserve that. I'd expect nothing less at this point. But this is a fight worth having, and one thing I can promise you, I will not yield in the face of adversity, and I will not bend to political pressure. Unlike too many in politics today, I have a backbone, and my words matter. As your assemblyman, you will always know where I stand. I will never say one thing while doing another, and I will never put my own political interests ahead of the interests of our community. But win or lose in November, I will run this way the way I've tried to live my life, with dignity, honesty, integrity, and above all, a willingness to sit down and talk with anyone to try and find areas of agreement and address the issues that matter most to Rockland County. And what are those issues, you might ask? Sadly, New York has become the toughest state in America in which to live, work, and raise a family. And with the complete one-party takeover of the state legislature in Albany, it's only getting worse. We are the highest taxed state in America, and taxes are going up again this year to fill a $6 billion budget hole. Rockland County already pays the second highest property taxes in America, and Andrew Cuomo's forcing them even higher by passing down his financial mismanagement to our towns and villages and tying the hands of our local officials when it comes to actually fixing the problem. We have a runaway Medicaid program with skyrocketing costs passed on to the county by Albany, all while having zero local input on the benefits provided. Our municipalities and schools are continually shortchanged by Albany, taking our hard-earned tax dollars and sending them elsewhere. Hardened criminals are being put back on the street right after getting arrested, risking the safety of law-abiding citizens, all in the name of reform. These criminals, parole officers, are even being instructed to sign them up to vote as soon as they get released, creating a new constituency of criminals for certain politicians. And worse still, victims, witnesses, and law enforcement are being put in danger because their personal identifying information is being shared without any consideration for their or their family's safety. It's wrong, and it must end today. We can't afford college for our own children because of these high costs, but we're paying tuition for non-citizens with our tax dollars. Our roads and bridges are crumbling, and our already limited train services are being cut. Congestion pricing is on its way unless the federal government steps in and stops it, which will especially hurt our county with its limited public transit options to Manhattan. We have a commuter tax and another Cuomo bridge toll increase coming. There's a bill in Albany to outlaw cigarette filters in New York while we legalize marijuana, and a bill to legalize prostitution while limiting the rights of law-abiding gun owners. Andrew Cuomo is shutting down Indian Point next year. Bill de Blasio is banning natural gas, and neither one of them has an answer for how we're going to heat and cool our homes or power our businesses, even as Westchester faces a moratorium on new natural gas hookups due to a lack of supply. Millions of our tax dollars are given to businesses, investments they call them, that fold within months. And our state economic development plan consists of casinos, pot, and online sports betting. And all of this is before we even get to well thought out and fully funded ideas like Medicare for All and the Green New Deal. Folks, this is what happens when you have one-party rule and runaway progressivism in a state like ours. Sadly, this is where we find ourselves today. This is the New York that we're living in. But here's the good news. We don't need to put up with this anymore. We can fight back. We can elect people with basic common sense to public office again. The worst thing we can do at this moment in history is retreat or remain silent. If we don't push back now, we will see a radicalism in Albany that will spell the death of this state and continue the mass exodus to Florida, Texas, and the Carolinas. I realize there won't be a Republican majority in the Assembly next year. But A, we need to start somewhere, and B, we have to have truth tellers in Albany. If I and others aren't in Albany speaking the truth will be forgotten. And that's the scariest thing of all. It's what the Democratic Socialists in this state want. You know me, and you know what I'll fight for. I'll fight to end the corruption that has plagued our state government for too long, where there is one set of rules for a select few and another set of rules for everyone else. Fairness and equality must be the cornerstones of our state government, and that includes ensuring that we apply the law across the board. We must stop picking winners and losers and start providing a level playing field. I'll fight to address our affordability crisis and put an end to Albany's out-of-control spending. We need to live within our means and cannot continue to foot the bill for every well-intentioned idea coming out of New York City. I'll fight to pass legislation that either mandates the state fully pay for and run Medicaid or allows the counties to finally have a say in what services are offered above the federal minimum. I'll fight to fix the unfair state school aid formula that continually shortchanges Rockland County millions of dollars, leaving our children behind and increasing our property taxes. We should be treated the same as Long Island and New York City, and not Poughkeepsie. I'll fight to fix the radical and ill-conceived criminal justice reform measures that are making our communities less safe. I'll take on the MTA and New Jersey Transit and their failure in leadership. Cost overruns, reduced service, they can either fix it or give us our money back. I'll fight to get the funds we deserve to fix decrepit state roads like Route 59 and 9W and our sewer, water, and energy infrastructure. And finally, I'll work to address the concerns and needs of all communities in my district by preserving open space, protecting our natural resources, and ensuring local municipalities have the resources they need to enforce local zoning laws and their town and village codes. Folks, Republican or Democrat, black or white, citizen or immigrant, gay or straight, Hasidic Jew or Catholic, we must find ways to sit down and work together to address these issues. We cannot continue down the path of anger and frustration, whether justified or not. We cannot continue to yell and assume the worst in each other, because if we do, if we continue down this path, it will only get worse, and then we all lose. We must listen to each other, hear each other's concerns, and find areas of agreement if we are to move forward and live together in Rockland County. And that is exactly what I intend to do. This district, which includes all of Orangetown and parts of Ramapo, including Hilburn, Suffern, Montebello, Airmont, Chestnut Ridge, Spring Valley, Muncie, Kaiser, Hillcrest, and New Square, is one of the most diverse districts in New York. My job will be to respect that diversity and find areas of commonality and to make sure that every community is treated equally, no matter who lives there. As a practicing Catholic, I very much believe in the commandment, love your neighbor as yourself, and that is what I will do. Finally, I want to share with you two very personal reasons why I'm running for public office. First, I believe education is a fundamental right. Every child should have a quality, affordable education, and no child should be relegated to a substandard education. I have been fortunate to live in two great public school systems, Nanuet and Suffern, and now a third, Pearl River. But those schools helped shape my future and gave me the foundation I needed to succeed professionally. When I was in second grade at George W. Miller Elementary School, my teacher, Anna Petrov, a Russian immigrant, informed my parents that while she thought I was smart, I was immature, and she recommended to them that I repeat second grade. It was a program called The Gift of Time. After much discussion, my parents agreed, and I repeated second grade. It was the best thing that ever happened to me, and it allowed me the opportunity to flourish and grow as a student and as a person, and ultimately allowed me to become the valedictorian in my graduating class at Manhattan College. I tell you that not to brag, but because of the pivotal role education plays in a child's life, and that education must include vocational training. Every child, whether in a public, private, or religious school, should have the same opportunity that I had, and more importantly, I believe that every child should be able to pursue their hopes and dreams and use their God-given skills and talents. Second, I mentioned earlier that I prayed before deciding to run, and I want to share with you why. When I was 26, my dad passed away from cancer. It was a life-altering experience, not because he died, We all experienced that loss. But because through that experience, I learned a lot about how to live. In our last conversation, my dad impressed upon me two very important points. The first, to whom much is given, much will be required. And the second, to keep an eye on my moral compass and do God's work. It was a powerful message and one that weighed heavily on me as I made this decision. Public service is a noble calling, and in many respects it requires a lot of personal sacrifice. But if you seek to serve your neighbors and your community with humility, integrity, and dedication, it can be very rewarding. As your assemblyman, I will do what is required for our community, because unfortunately, too many politicians, particularly in New York, seem much more focused on how much they are given than the responsibilities that go with the job. The campaign ahead will take hard work, and I will be so grateful to have you alongside me every step of the way. You and I share a vision, and it's a vision we must now advance. There can be no retreat. We must move forward, and the time is now. Thank you, and God bless you all.